From the National Weather Service in Raleigh, it's Nick Petro with your winter storm briefing update here as of 4:30 on this Friday, the 14th of January. So the main thing, since we did our 9 a.m. briefing this morning, is we increased the icing amounts a little bit across our southwest portion of central North Carolina. So let's just get right into it. And again, just to summarize real quickly, snow, ice, wind, power outages, hazardous travel, maybe some flooding east of I-95, and maybe some minor rises on the rivers early in the week are all on the table with this event. I kind of mentioned this earlier at the start of the briefing. I think it's worth mentioning again. We try to kind of categorize these impacts, in these five categories, with green being kind of the least impactful, and purple and extreme being incredibly impactful, maybe a record breaking type of event. This is somewhere in the lower half, if you will, or maybe in the middle. I mean, it probably, obviously, not expected to be a major or record breaking event at all. And I would say, the overall impact will be sort of a 3 out of a level 5, if you will. So it could be a lot worse. Of course, it could be better. All right, so here are some updated evolution and precip type and timing. And again, just some subtle tweaks to what I showed at 9 a.m. Snow and sleet mix gradually filling in from southwest to northeast around daybreak Sunday. By 9 a.m. Sunday, we're going to have snow, maybe heavy at times, across the Triad region. And then we're going to see a real quick changeover. If you are lucky to see snow in this range here, in the I-95 to Harnett County down to Richmond County, in this area that I circle right here, if you see snow in that area, it isn't going to last long, maybe just 15, 20, 30 minutes at most, because it's going to quickly switch over to sleet and then freezing rain. I think the place that has the risk to see snow hang on the longest will be, of course, the Triad and areas along and north of 85. That's where I just circled now, I think, is where the snow will hang on the longest in terms of, before it mixes with anything else. Okay, so that's I think where we're going to see those different P types play out. And then by noon, a large portion of central North Carolina will be experiencing freezing rain. Okay, but I want to draw your attention to this changeover line right here. Okay, now the timing of that's going to be tricky. By noon, it could be a little bit further west, or it could be a little bit further delayed if the cold air really hangs in. So, the timing of this rain changeover, when temperatures rise above freezing, is always a challenge. So I just want to put that caveat out there so people realize that certainly the timing of this may need some adjustment. But there's one thing I do want to circle on this map because it's really important, that this area right here is going to be the area that's going to see the freezing rain last the longest. Okay, so it'll switch over to freezing rain early, and it'll hang on to freezing rain for a fairly long duration. I may have overdrawn the eastern and northern end of that, maybe just getting into Wake County, maybe just clipping western Cumberland County. But let me actually redraw that just to kind of fine tune it. But generally speaking, this area kind of right in here, I think, is where the timing and the duration, I think duration is probably the best way to put it, of freezing rain will be the greatest. So those areas will have the greatest opportunity. I just circled there on the far right map to see prolonged freezing rain. Okay, that's noon on Sunday. By mid-afternoon, 3 p.m., even up in the Triad, that snow is mixing with sleet. And what that means is when it mixes with sleet, that's going to cut down on the overall snow accumulation. So otherwise, you'd have a lot more snow accumulate, but the sleet's going to eat into that. And look at that area I drew just prior on the previous slide. Look how that's hanging in there is freezing rain. The transition to all rain, again, temperatures rising above freezing, by mid-afternoon should be from just east of Roanoke Rapids to Nashville to just in the eastern suburbs of Raleigh, down towards Sanford, just east of Troy, and down toward Wadesboro. And from that line east should be all rain. So if you're in like Rockingham, if you're in Mebane, if you're in Lillington, if you're in Clayton, and you got some freezing rain earlier in the day, this rain will help to hopefully wash that away, okay, and clear that up. Um, Hopefully, we'll see. If that changeover is delayed, then obviously the amounts of freezing rain would have to increase across that area. All right, and then by the time we get into early evening Sunday, I think that rain changeover is going to be pretty far west across central North Carolina, west of Raleigh, and really trying to approach the Triad. I don't think it's going to get to the Triad. I think the cold air is locked in across the Triad and north of 85, like it always is. I also want to draw your attention to the possibility for some heavy rain across eastern North Carolina, maybe even some thunderstorms. So we'll have to watch out for that. That's why we put flooding as one of the possible hazards, because where this rain is heavy, there could be some runoff issues and some poor drainage flooding. Okay. And then by 10 o'clock, it looks like things will be winding down really quickly. Okay. So that's the way things are looking at right now. Not a whole lot different from what we shared earlier. Um, Looking at snowfall, again, these numbers here in the triad are held back by a changeover to sleet, maybe even freezing rain. And you know what that's going to do? You're going to get 3-4 inches of snow, and then you're going to put about maybe a half inch or an inch of sleet on top of that, and then maybe a light coating, a tenth of an inch of freezing rain on top of that. So it's just going to be a crusty, snowy mess in the triad. Okay, even down toward Lexington, up toward Roxborough, from Greensboro northward. It's just going to be several inches of snow with an inch of sleet and then a crusting of freezing rain on top of that. So look for dangerous, hazardous driving conditions there. And again, the snow is held back. These numbers would be bigger if it wasn't for the fact that we're going to see a changeover to sleet and freezing rain. Once you get south of Highway 24, and once you get east of I-95, there's going to be little, if any, snow. So kind of in that general south of that line there. If you see some snow at the very onset of precipitation, don't be surprised, but I think it'll change over pretty quickly. All right. These alternate scenarios really, basically are there as, what if kind of situations. You're not going to see a whole lot of difference between the high end and the expected amount, because this is looking more like a less in the way of a snow event and more in the way of a sleet and freezing rain event. All right, so speaking of freezing rain and ice accumulation, how much? Well, we're almost knocking on the door of 3/10 of an inch of ice accumulation there in Albemarle, Troy, Wadesboro, up toward Asheboro, not quite to Pittsburgh, but getting close, where you're in that red area, which is a quarter inch or more of of freezing rain and ice accumulation. I think that's where we're going to see the greatest tree damage and the greatest number and concentration of power outages, right here in that circle there. So I think folks in that area really need to be prepared for what could be maybe some prolonged power outages and a lot of excuse me, losing my voice here, in quite a few downed trees. Okay, so just be particularly careful about that. All right. So add to that the gust. It's going to be really windy with the system. 30, 35 mile per hour wind gusts we can't roll out. So that's going to, you put that on top of an iced over tree, and there could be quite a few trees down. I mean, we're talking again the southern Piedmont, Sandhills region, southwest Piedmont, over toward Charlotte. We're talking a lot of down trees, a lot of power outages, maybe some prolonged power outages. All right, so what about temperatures? Well, these high temps I'm showing right here are likely to occur very late in the day. So, temperature will be steady or gradually rising through the daytime Sunday. And we're not going to see much of a fall Sunday night in temps. In fact, temps may either be steady or just may slowly fall, particularly across eastern North Carolina in the Monday morning. But finally, some good news. Monday, we'll see some good melting temperatures under mostly sunny skies Monday. But then back to some bad news, which is really cold nighttime temperatures Monday night, which could prolong icy road challenges and black ice problems, especially where there's a deeper snowpack. All right, I showed this earlier. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on this, but if you want hour by hour details for your location, if you want to know when exactly is the temperature going to rise above freezing, okay, if you're trying to plan things out for Monday or even Tuesday, and you're wondering, when's it going to hit freezing, when's it going to rise, when's it going to fall below, all those questions can be answered in our hour by hour graphs. And unfortunately, I don't have time to take you through these for a lot of locations. So I would encourage you to go ahead and click on this link, and that'll take you to the page where you can get your own hour by hour printout. Now, I've already emailed out these slides. So if you're on our email list, this should be in your inbox. I actually emailed the slides before the 4:30 briefing. So around 4 o'clock, I emailed these slides out. You should already have them. And on this page right here, you can get the link to this hour by hour graph. All right, so winter storm conditions, obviously this, our confidence is gradually increasing. Daytime hours Sunday looks like, prime time for things to really worsen in terms of, amounts of frozen or freezing precipitation. Accumulating snow is likely early Sunday before the storm brings a mixed bag of wintry precipitation and probably more in the way of freezing rain by the time it's all said and done. Ice is going to accumulate across, a portion of central North Carolina during the daytime, particularly west of I-95. Travel and ice impacts may continue through Sunday night into Monday. That's pretty obvious. Maybe even Monday night into Tuesday with some black ice concerns. We'll address that more tomorrow. And then, of course, if you, residents of Central North Carolina, if you're particularly west of I-95, you should be prepared for hazardous travel conditions Sunday through Sunday night, and possibly down trees and power outages. Okay, and the worst of the icing and the worst of the power outage impacts now expected to occur 40 miles either side of a line. If you draw a line from Charlotte to Albemarle to Sanford, 40 miles either side of that line, that's where we think the worst icing and power outage impacts are expected to occur. Okay, now obviously we'll be updating these slides again and doing additional briefings. Let's see, today's Friday, so our midnight shift will in all likelihood issue an update to these PowerPoint slides before the night's over, and then I'll update them again before our 9 a.m. webinar. We're going to do another one of these webinars 9 o'clock tomorrow morning, and then of course we'll have a follow-up at 4:30 tomorrow evening. All right, so stay tuned. Because we're honing in on this event and able to zero in on all the specific details. So anyway, thanks so much for watching.